All right, what's up, everybody? How y'all doing? It's your boy Champ, special guest Han Solo, aka Justin, aka Han Solo.
Hey,
What's up? How you doing,
all
man?
right, man. I'm
How was your
blessed.
day today so far?
I just left work 15 minutes ago when I called you and said I'm on my way, man.
15 minutes ago. Okay.
Yeah,
Work was good today.
man. Every day above ground is good.
Okay, so tell me about yourself. What's going on? Like, tell me something about yourself.
Security.
Okay.
Now I'm training law enforcement and father first.
Father
You know,
first.
father of 8 of them now. You know, so some
8 kids?
Yeah,
Oh,
8.
you ain't
Yeah,
playing.
ranging from 30.
What they
Ranging
used to say
from
back
30,
then?
30
Papa
all
was
the way
a-
to 6 months. Yeah.
You said 30 all the way 6 months?
Yeah, my oldest 31, my youngest 6 months old.
You done yet, or you gonna keep going?
Me and the wife was talking about having actually one more.
One
Yeah.
more?
Yeah,
Okay,
one more.
okay. That's
Maybe
what's up.
2.
Okay, so what you do? Like, what's your occupation? What you do?
I teach firearms, I teach security, I work a lot, and I teach general topics, defensive tactics, a whole lot of like strategic stuff for security. I just try to take security to its highest level.
Okay, what got you into it?
Oh wow. There was a fight at King's Court.
Kings
And it was
Court, Chippewa, downtown Buffalo.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, right across from the embassy. And my brother, it was his birthday. Joseph, it was his birthday, and I had paid the bartender $100 so he didn't have to go in his pocket. I wanted to make his day special.
Right.
And the security that was working there, one of them questioned him like, yo, you going to pay for that? Because the bartender had moved and switched places with another to deal with some favorites,
Okay.
or some VIP customers or however that went. But there was a slight, I wasn't all the way transformed yet. So I'll be totally honest with you. I banished something and it turned into a big fiasco. And I went to jail for that situation.
Oh,
Because
you went to jail for it?
Yeah, all the security ran out of the King's Court. They called the police. The police came, put their weapons on me, took me to jail for banishing or allegedly threatening in a manner like that, which now I reflect on like, that was immature because I still was kind of primitive mind state, street.
Okay.
But as I sat in the jail cell, I said, man, if I was security, I wouldn't have did that. And then a light bulb went on my head. I never had a job my whole life. It was always how it was.
Okay.
And a light bulb went off in my primitive mind state, like, I think I can do security.
Why you were in a jail cell?
Yeah.
So you were saying I could do this job better than them.
Yeah, I said, if I was
Okay.
security, I wouldn't have did that. I wouldn't have just called and got somebody locked up off of something I started.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, so now, did you have a record for it? Were you charged with it, or?
Oh, yeah. I had an 86 conviction, 88 and 99 and 2004 and 2009, all ranging from guns and drugs. And, I was in a bad state. And that came from not having mentors. And that came from being influenced by the materialistic. I wanted the best car. I wanted the rims. I wanted the speakers. I wanted the gold and the chains. I wanted all that. And it seemed like in my era, if you wasn't playing basketball, you were selling cocaine.
Okay.
And that's about how that went as far as like being swayed over into the wrong way of doing things. And that light bulb went off like, man, if I was security.
Okay.
And I took that same mentality of doing other things, trying to be the biggest. Same mentality, different sport. Now it's security, and I want to become the word security.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Now, how was you able to get that with the convictions that you? How did that go about?
A lot of laws recently passed. One passed 2018 as far as the felony reform on nonviolence of 10 years.
Okay.
After you've been free and clear 10 years, you can apply. But that process, that seems like it's an open door. It's not really an open door because there's so much you have to do. You have to address the judge that convicted you.
Really?
Yes, and if he's not there, then you have to address the acting judge, which 9 times out of 10, if you look at a file and, you'll shut the door, you'll shut that book really quick, like deny. It's easier to deny a person than to really look into the change.
Okay.
And 99% of those in power of our approvals or denials they'd rather do the easiest thing, and that's just to deny us.
So how did you get them to keep going upon your case? How did you press them upon it?
Every year I came with more certifications, more training. Even if I wasn't eligible to work because of the felony convictions, I still was eligible to train. And New York State is a justifiable state, meaning that everything you do, you have to justify. They have to justify why they send you to prison. You have to justify what credentials or what qualifies you for certain jobs.
Right.
So New York State is a justifiable state. So I gave them so many certifications, so many training involvements and completions that after 17 times they had to say, hey, you know what? We're starting to look like the bad guys for denying a person that's really never stayed crime-free and that has this type of duration of putting his energy into trying to do this.
Right.
So sooner or later it was like, you know what? Just let the end.
Okay, yeah. That makes sense. So
Yeah.
it took a lot of hard work and effort. You know, you never gave up, which is always a good thing.
It
Did
took
you have
a-
good people by your side?
Yeah,
Like
no.
you never. It was just you
No.
by yourself.
I'll be honest, when I first started this, there was a couple people in place. And what's so sad about it is that we've been programmed to feel like we can't be successful unless we're working under Charlie, if that makes sense. We've been programmed to feel like we can't be successful with each other and we have to find employment with Charlie to be successful.
Right.
And that's not really the case. But I was judged like, oh, he's over there with Charlie working. Remember when you first started seeing me in training?
Correct.
I was associated by who I was working for.
Correct.
So that gave me the title that people would assume, like, yeah, you know what, go see Han, man, because he's working for Charlie.
Right.
Yeah, he'll take care of you because he's working. They never thought that once that was out the equation, that I could stand alone and continue that.
Right, and that's exactly what you did, because I
I mean,
remember.
we've got 10, 12 years of this.
Right,
You know,
I
so,
definitely remember that.
yeah, I was assumed like that. I could never be the one in position because I have to work for him to be somebody. We all can do anything we want, man.
Yeah, like you said, don't give up. You got to keep working hard. You got to put the effort in. You got to put the work in.
Yeah, that's the problem. We don't have patience. Patience. When I was denied the first time, I would say the second and third and fourth and fifth time, or I failed the exam. I watched God, I failed it 3 times. I didn't have the educational background. I had the street background.
Okay.
So it was harder for me to understand with certain things. Man, I even had to go back and relearn newest math. I didn't want my file to have the education that came from the facility. I was educated on a KEG system and a Green Leaf program, which was in a facility, which was in a correctional facility.
Okay.
I didn't want that in my file no more. So I was 46 years old when I went to go back to learn the newest math based off the math that I had in 1984 or something.
Okay.
It's 2020 and 19, and the math is like Chinese arithmetic to me. But I had to go to the Adult Learning Center. I had to go to different places. A lot of humbleness.
Okay.
A lot of being humble enough to say, you know what? Yeah, I'm a big boy in the streets, but I don't want to be him. So let me go sit in this classroom and get educated.
And you was 46 when you did that.
Yeah, I was 46.
That goes to
years
show
old.
no matter how old you are, you don't got to give up. You can still keep pushing, keep working.
Yeah.
He said he had a hard, rough background, from the 80s
Oh, man.
until the 10 years ago, he just now started?
Not even. They denied me from my past all the way up till 2020.
2020.
Correct. About things that took place in the 80s and in the 90s. They didn't allow me to chase my ambitions until 2020. So I was being looked at like, oh, he's up underneath Charlie, so he's all right,
Right. Okay. Yeah, at least we see that you still didn't give up, that's always a good thing.
Anybody that's been crime free can do this.
Crime free.
First thing that has to take place, and this is the key formula, y'all.
Yeah, what's the key formula to it?
The key formula to this is, once again, I'm gonna refer back to New York State is a justifiable state, meaning that you have to show proof. The same way you get convicted, they look for the proof. The same way you free yourself, you have to present proof. So say your past is never finished parole,
Okay.
finish parole. And if you don't finish parole, then actually go back and start over. You know what? I'm trying to get a letter of good conduct. Oh, well, we don't want to grant you that. Okay, great. Get into some type of trade, what you truly want to do. Finish it. We have to learn to be finishers.
Okay.
Once you finish something, that's an accomplishment. Now, chase the next one. Set your goals so high that if even you come close, you're knocking the next person out the box, because you have to set higher goals. When you got to do it twice as better, twice as much.
Okay, yeah. That was some good advice. That was some good knowledge, good information.
It's the truth.
Yeah.
You have to do your job twice as good to keep it. You have to do it twice as good to maintain it. And then you have to even be twice as good to get it.
Yeah. That's when you got a criminal background history, right?
Yeah, you got to do it twice.
Now, about the pistol permit, how does that work with you being able to still get your pistol permit and your armed license and your certifications on that?
First, you got to get those things sealed. And if you go to a lawyer or whatnot, they're going to charge you about $1,500 minimum. And that's if you want a low-end offender status. So when they say non-violent only and no violent, no. The key to this is justification. So a long time ago, you might have been a menace. Violent acts, caused disfigurement, caught with a few guns. And you'll think, because it's been put in us to think, that you're not eligible. You'll never be eligible. But when you show a person the dark side, then you show them the light side. If that makes any sense, if you change the way you live, you change the way that you speak, you change the way you present yourself, and then you change the things that you're presenting to those that are on the opposite side of that desk that control approval and denial. New York State is justifiable. Okay. So once you've given them enough supporting documents, hey, he finished this, he finished that, he got this, he got that, he got his high school diploma, he did all these things that change. Yeah, they might still slap the gavel and say he's denied. But with patience, you'll overturn those statistics and you can actually Evel Knievel that thing.
Really?
Yeah, man. You know that he defied the odds, man. I like to refer to Evel Knievel because he would attempt to do all the things that people said was impossible. If you remember when we first started working, the gossip was, man, you know, he ain't got his gun, man. He ain't never gonna, you know, he'll never be able to, well, he up underneath Chief and them, he all good, but he'll never be able to. I use that as fuel. See, okay. I use that as fuel, the never.
And you did all of it.
You better say it. And I'm still not done. I'm still setting goals way higher than what I want to achieve. So if I even come close, man, the key is to go to the next level with everything, you know? The key is to go to the next level with everything. You're one ticket in life. We get complacent real quick. Right. We get one job and we think we can't do no better than that because we didn't think we could get nothing in the first place.
Correct. I agree.
You know, that and we got to start being better role models. This is what really will stop the trend of the denials. When we start teaching our kids, you know, my son saw when I got custody of all my kids, for one.
Oh, you have custody of them?
Yeah, when my kids were taken away while I was in my first bid. Okay. And it wasn't because of me, but it was because of me because I wasn't there. Right. If I would have been there as a father, I probably could have curved a lot for them. But the fact that I wasn't there, and when I came back home, they were all gone. 3 of them names changed. Foster care. Yeah, because I never went away for no little bit of time. If I went away, I was gone. I come back, the world looked different. Sneakers look different. Okay. Family done moved. Some done passed. So them kids needed guidance, but I didn't have guidance. Okay. So that's how we break the trend of this. If I'm going to show them how to be a man, or even better yet, how to survive, I can't just show them one side of the table.
That's true.
That's the same trend, basketball player or cocaine slinger. So why don't I show them all around the board as they grow up?
Yep.
So no matter what anybody says, does, you have different gears of survival. That's most of the formula too. We got to change ourselves to change what happens to us.
That's 100% true. I agree with that 100%. You know, it's a saying, you know, people like to blame everything on the devil, but sometimes it's our fault as well.
It's us.
It's us, yeah.
It's us.
You know,
it's all us.
We make decisions and then blame the devil for it.
Yeah, and then act like we didn't do that.
Act like we didn't do it right.
You know, the mistake we made, sometimes it might take, in my case, 20 some odd years to rectify.
Yeah.
You know, that was an 88 number. You know, my number is at 88. That conviction, they held that all the way up until 2020, man.
Yeah.
And then I could have made it lesser on myself, but I still got in trouble again and went to 99, 2004, 2009. But with that being said, look at all them convictions and all those arrests and all those years.
Right.
But still evolve from that without doing anything that anybody can name. Can't nobody say, you know what, he must have snitched on somebody.
Right.
You can't start a sentence with me. You can't start a sentence, man. You can't say, well, I heard that once upon a time with him and so. You got to have some type of way to be. And I take so much pride being from the town.
Right.
You know, I'm raised and bred in Buffalo, New York, and I take so much pride in knowing that, like, I didn't take no shortcuts.
Right.
I didn't get no crutches.
You went through it all, so yeah.
I went through all that. No, you're denied. Denied.
Still
denied.
Never give up. Still never give up.
Nah, because I found something I knew how to do that wasn't going to get me locked up. Was they going to lock me up for trying to work security?
Nope.
Nope. Are they going to lock me up if I go buy a slab, though? Yup.
Yep.
So I'm going to keep doing what doesn't get me locked up.
So how long you been in security for?
Officially, I want to say since about 2019. You know, I keeps it a buck. So everything prior to that, that was me just not wanting to go back to jail.
Okay.
So in 2010 and 2012, and you still see me working, that's because I didn't want to sell cocaine anymore. I didn't want to go to prison. That was when my daughter Jada was born. So that changed my life. Looking at my kids again, I'm looking like, man, I'm making my second string. God done blessed me to have grown-up kids, get their lives back in order. Now I got new kids. I can't do the same repetitive behavior around these same new kids. I gotta be a role model.
Right.
Decisions.
So there is still hope for people that's in their 40s, that's even if in their 50s, you know.
Come on.
Because you can still do a big bid at 40 and 50.
Come on.
You know what I'm
you can
saying?
still get knocked off at that age. And
so you was committed.
Yeah.
You was committed to it.
I liked what I was doing, and believe it or not, you know, like we respect each other by the size of our chain.
Right.
But when I put that uniform on and I had gained respect from my kids' mothers, when my own personal mother allowed me to come in the household because I wasn't a threat to nobody and I wasn't a negative vibe.
Now, how was it that you transferred from being in the streets to security? Like, how did the streets start to look at you? Did they look at you any different?
Yo, I got to be honest with you, and this goes by individual people, right?
Okay.
And when I say, like, it depends on your past in the street. When I was in the streets, everybody knew, for one, I'm not going to cheat you. For two, I'm not going to rob you. For three, I'm not going to bunk you. And I'm not going to tell. So the respect level was already there. So it was never a question because it was like, yo, him? Nah. Because once again, I take pride in that. You can't even bring up the sentence. I love the town. And that's just not the G code from the 80s. I come from a different era.
Right.
So, you know, when that game started changing and that system, the catch and release and all that started happening, I really ain't want nothing to do with it no more anyway.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Once that started being done, what you mean you out? What you mean? Once that started, I said, it was like, you know what? That's about it. So I got to find something to do with my life so where I'm not nervous about nothing no more. And you got to, like,
right, you live freely.
You got to live freely. All that living in the rearview mirror, I drive so good. I don't speed or nothing. And it's not because I don't want to see what my vehicle can do. I'm just so used to worrying about
Right. Having your
worrying. So now, like, I drive like an old man because I always did. Some of
okay.
them things help you out. I've never got a speeding ticket, but back to the topic, it does, it comes with change if that's what you truly want to do, not roll the dice with your future. You got to look at them kids every time you're getting ready to make a decision, and you gotta think about what their decisions are going to be off your decisions.
Right.
Yeah,
Now, is it true once you hit the streets, you give up your innocence? Once you're in the streets?
Nah. I know some real good dudes that's like terrible. Terrible, but have the biggest hearts, man, and give you the shirt off their back. You lose your innocence when you get in the streets. What you actually did was lowered your probability to succeed.
Yeah. I definitely agree with that. You do.
Oh, by the way, it's really nice in here.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I really like this in here. I could just chill out in here and cool out and brainstorm.
Right.
We are doing a seminar. I wanted to get back to this. Let's get back to the meat and potatoes. So when you go to lawyers and whatnot, they're going to charge you minimum $1,500. I know because I was paying that just to get denied. Top lawyers.
Now, the seminar, right? Deny what? We're talking about the pistol permit.
Like if you pistol permit, your record's sealed,
or your record
you might
sealed.
want to get in the medical field. And they say, well, your background's not right. The reason why they keep saying your background's not right is because you haven't served the DA. You haven't served the clerk, served the judge, filed your own motions. Filed your own motions. I filed all my own motions. I went into the penal code laws. I wanted to see what the weight of my crimes were. Then I wanted to ask lawyers the distance that this crime was still kind of keep a barrier for me living correctly. It seemed like they all said the same thing. It's based off justification. So I had to get my training. I had to enroll in schools. I had to enroll to prove that this is something I truly want to do. After a while, I had more certifications than the people that was teaching me.
Really?
Yeah.
So it's all everything justifiable. So you put your own motions in.
Put my own motions in. The DA.
So now, when you say get it sealed, right?
Yes.
Does that mean that if somebody do a background check on you, it won't pop up?
Right now, I have no record.
So if somebody, the federal,
none. Mine is a little different. I don't just have like them sealed. They were sealed, and they say New York State has no expungement.
Okay.
Now, when you get reliefs of disabilities or whatnot, there's different categories. You've got A, B, and C. You might get a A. The A would like permit you to work under circumstances, allow you to vote. But when you get to like category B and C, now that's relieving you of all forfeitures. But when you put those in, you have to be like very keen on the intricate words you use because you want the wording to state what it's specifically for in the relief. Once you get the relief of disabilities, yeah, you ball and rolling. When I got that, I was working unarmed or whatnot. But then I had to go back, change the wording. So that way they would understand. Also, I need a C. They'll give you an A after 10 years. But now you're wondering, like, I'm still getting denied for these jobs when they do the background check. So now you got to use that relief of disability. This is where you got to
claim. Okay.
Got to put this together. And then after you get the relief, then you use the relief to seal the sealable crime.
Right. That makes sense.
Some crimes aren't sealable. Yeah, some crimes aren't. Okay. Like murder, manslaughter, rape, sodomy, arson. Some of these things just aren't on the menu for it. If you're hurting kids or you're hurting different individuals, that's not sealable. And I kind of agree with that because it's the same way we look at things in the public eye. You mess with kids and stuff like that, man. You're shunned in society because that's just not comprehensible. So they do have different guidelines.
So you can't get a murder, rape, or anything like that sealed. That's like impossible.
Not unless it was involuntary. You have to know how to also open these cases back up. And you can appeal these, you can open them back up. And sometimes you can win your decision under due processing. Due process, meaning the same way if you get an appearance ticket, but you have to show up for court. And if you don't show up in these allotted days, or if you don't show up when they stated you needed to be there, then you automatically lose the case. Kind of like a child support case.
Okay.
If you get taken, if you don't show up, then you lose by default.
Default, yep. That's
well,
exactly
that doesn't just only apply to the person that's being accused or the person that's trying to rectify their criminal record, but that also applies to the court system, the judge, the DA, the clerk, the acting judge, whoever was in charge of that case, if they're still active or not, but whoever's in charge of those files. If you do your paperwork right, now they have to answer to you in a due fashion under due process.
Really?
Yes. So there's been times that certain things had to get rectified because I wasn't answered in a timely fashion. So that's, you throw a bunch of stones and one of them might hit, two of them might hit, and you throw them again. Next thing you know, you've hit all your targets, you know?
Well, that's some dope information.
Yeah.
See, a lot of people don't know that, you know?
They think it stops with the relief of disability. So I got my relief and I can work. So now that you work in security because you got the relief, you think in your mind that you took care of your record.
Right.
Nah, you got to use the relief as a supporting deposition. And then you have to actually serve those same people again. Then you have to get a court date, but they have to respond if it's done correctly. It took me thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars of trusting the system that was presented to me that just sent me in a circle. But as soon as I dug deep and I learned how to file my own motions, how to put my paperwork together, to get my records, to dig a little deeper. Sometimes you got to go back in gray areas that you thought you was done with, but they still following you your whole life. So if you're going to get rid of them, you got to dig back in them, then present them. You know.
Yeah, it gets deep. It gets deep.
Yeah, it's a process.
But like you said before, it take a lot of time and patience with
Yes,
that.
it does.
It take a lot of time and patience. Like,
yes, it does.
How do you gain patience for that? Like, a lot of people give up on themselves when they get denied, you know?
Well, I got to be honest with you. Those that have sat in jail, you don't have patience. If you ever got locked up and you didn't have a court date,
right,
and you didn't have bail, how you don't have patience?
You don't have a choice. You don't have a choice.
Okay, so if you already have felony convictions and you trying to live right, you really don't have a choice no more but to try to fight and get your new life going. Or you're going to submit and go back to what they can really, really, really hit you. See, that's the part that we fall victim to. If you've already made a mistake in something, that means you're not good at it.
Right.
If you make a mistake in something that takes years out your life, you don't roll the dice to see if you can take more years out your life, because the category of how they deal with us as criminals and convicted individuals, the category changes. So every time you go back to the same thing, you're rolling the dice even with less odds. So now you have less odds to succeed and more odds of more treacherous type of like penalties. Now you're in double digits because you already did single digits.
Right.
You can't get that time back.
No. Time is the most precious thing to lose.
You can't. I don't know if you ever see, I always say, make the most out of your one ticket. You know, I'm older now. So I think about all the time that was wasted. I think about all the time in jail. I think about all the time in facilities. I think about what I could have did if I would have had anybody in my ear. They might have got through. I doubt it. You know,
so do you think it comes with experience or maturity? Like, what do you?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Experience.
Yeah, experience. Because when you don't want to repeat certain things that took place, you got to find a different way to live. You got to find a different way so you can live. Like kids nowadays, and even some of these adults, they're trying to focus on how they can live, right, because our definition of living isn't the correct definition. If we can get some money right now, Well, that means we living. If we got the biggest chain, that means we living. If we got the toughest car, that means
materialistic.
We living. Yeah, but can't rub two nickels together. That's not living. Living is when you know you can buy that chain.
Right.
Living is when you know you can buy that car. Living is when you don't want to be broke doing nothing because you want to maintain living your lifestyle.
So it's not about what you have, it's about what you maintain.
It's about what you can do.
Right.
It's not about what you did or what you can do. It's about what you can do. That makes sense. It's about what you can do.
You, that makes a lot of sense to me. You don't see some people, they live by what they had or what they done did in their past. I tell them all the time, it's about what you maintain.
They're not ready to change. When they talk about the glory days, the glory days is the glory days. I could talk about a whole lot of glory days, but they weren't glory days if I still can't reflect on how it helps me today. The only thing the glory days help me with is that I could see things before they happen now. Insecurity, body language, certain temperaments. I could see things before they happen, which makes me a better guard. There's a couple like me out here. Because of their past, they can see the temperaments change, the body language, because we were them.
Okay, right.
Yeah, we were them.
So, yes, the glory days.
The glory days. So you can use
So they're not ready to change.
No. If you're still talking about, man, I was on the block, man, we was getting 10,000 a weekend. That's because you're secretly acknowledging the fact that you're not productive anymore.
I like that.
You know?
I like that. That make a lot of sense.
Most of the people that speak on what they used to do, what are they doing? So we need to change what we're doing so our minds don't drift back into the so-called glory days when we were blind.
That's true.
Yeah. Come on, hit me with a question. I want to know what somebody wants to know. Relief for disabilities is first. If you fall up under the criteria, get your records. Get all your records from all your convictions. Make sure they have the red stamp on the back of them. It costs $5 if you go in the records. You might get the runaround, but you have to be persistent and go in there and get your records, the dispositions, what happened last. That way it can't be misquoted. That way it can't be redirected. Like, well, you know what? How did that turn out? Get all those. And then start one at a time. 2 misdemeanors, 1 nonviolent felony, get them out the way. Once you've brought yourself out of certain categories, the oldest one might be the vicious. Attack that first. You want to start changing your category of conviction. As you break down, as you get rid of certain ones, your eligibility changes.
It's a lot of powerful knowledge, man. Some things I didn't even know. And I'm glad to learn.
Lawyers will charge you $1,500, $2,500 just to say the things that I just said to you.
Yeah. Knowledge costs a lot of money. I remember I was sitting in the courtroom one day. I heard a guy ask a lawyer something. He said, you had to ask an attorney.
Yeah.
He wasn't going to give no information.
Yeah, he wasn't going to give it to you because they want to charge you for information. I paid so much money to get sent in a circle.
Yeah.
To get that letter back. And I was working. I wasn't hustling. I was working. So when I was giving this lawyer $1,500, $1,000 more, this, that, and the third, then 4 or 5 months, denied again. Then finding out people that worked amongst me that had friends, my file wasn't even making it to the judge to see my rehabilitation or my, whatever you want to call it, my transformation. And it didn't even make it there.
Now, how's that possible that I don't make it to the judge?
Because it's easier to deny a person than to really.
So who deny you? I thought the judge is the one that makes the decision.
There's other people that can look at you. See, that's why due diligence and patience, because anybody in position are very judgmental. And when you're in a situation to where it's like, well, he's a felon, jump out of that and be the person behind the desk. Well, he served. Oh, he went back again. And
we ain't gonna get it to the judge.
We're not gonna waste the judge's time with this because the probability and the way we've created ourselves to looked at. This is the way we're looked at as a culture, as Black men. as black men. Oh man, he's either gonna sell drugs or he's either gonna gang bang or he's either gonna okay, great. But what about the ones that change and that say, yo, that's not for me. I've done my time, I'm done. And I just want to move forward in life. It takes a lot of effort to walk over that because even your own people will throw that. When I was doing what I was doing, you can't even sit here and tell me that that was never spoke about to you, even about me. Well, he done did time. He'll never get. Well, you know, I don't know how because he used to, I mean,
yeah.
It's individual.
And then, you know, like I said, when I met you, Charlie.
Come on, they see you with Charlie. Yeah. So, oh yeah, he up underneath him. But not knowing
Not knowing you was playing chess.
You better say it.
He was playing chess.
You better say it, because we're nobody unless we're controlled or muzzled. You know, we have to be controlled. Right. Just think about some of your friends and think about the jobs they work in, man. They're content. They might have had their own ambitions. They might have had the things they wanted to be their own man about. But once we get a little bit of something, it's like, I can't talk to y'all no more. I can't be around y'all no more because Charlie done gave me this job.
Yeah.
I think, so when you said, I'm going to piggyback. So when you said about the street dudes.
Right. That's what I was, yeah.
Well, I don't know if you pay attention, but, you know, I go to Philly with Conway. I go to Dallas and all that with Benny. And I'm around with a lot of famous artists because just because I've changed the way I live, I
don't mean you change who you are.
Who I am.
There we go. Yeah. That was deep. You got to say that one more time for him.
Nah.
Just because you change the way you live doesn't mean to change who you are. That was
deep. And if you change who you are, you never was who you were.
Now, if anybody got any questions about the criminal records or the process of regaining firearms or anything like that, he's here to help us with that. You know,
yeah, like
even if you got a record, you know, you got a felony, a misdemeanor,
you got a chance.
You still got a chance.
You got a chance
because you know, here's the thing. You know, a lot of people move by hearsay.
Tell them.
You know, you can't move by hearsay. You can't feel like because that person or they said you can't get your firearms because you have a record or they said you don't have a chance of getting a certain job because of you have a record. You know, he here's to break it down to you, let you know that you still have a chance. Yes. Every day you wake up, you got a chance and you got a choice. Every day you wake up, you got a chance, you got a choice. You know what they say? You want to hide something from a black person, put it in a book.
It comes down to something that we can relate to, right? So let's look at this. Has there ever been a certain vehicle that you wanted to get off the lot, but they said your credit wasn't right? So then you paid a couple of your debtors. Those debts were like your previous convictions as they come off your credit karma. Uh-huh. So as you seal those when the time passes by, or how they say after 7 years to 10 years, certain debts fall off your credit history. I'm trying to give y'all some accolades to wrap around where you can see what I mean. After a certain amount of years, there are certain convictions that don't hold their weight, but no one's going to go in there themselves and seal them for you or get them off, because as long as you stay trapped.
Not even a lawyer.
Nah.
You got to put that work in yourself.
You got to put that work in yourself. You got to learn how to do it, or at least find somebody that'll help you do it with no strings.
Right. No strings. That's a slogan. No strings.
No, I want to clarify that.
Yeah. Explain to what no strings mean. Okay. I always wanted to ask you that. I always see you posting. What do no strings mean?
Have you noticed that whenever I speak about that, not a lot of people like it? Let me tell you why. Because the majority are guilty of having them. Let me give you an example.
Yeah, we want to know what no strings mean.
So, and I'm sorry, y'all, because of my past, I can only refer to make examples out of certain things. So Big Boy got a lot of work. And it's fire.
Okay.
He got a nice entourage, right?
Okay.
It's not because they like him. It's because of the work he got and what they can benefit off being around him. So all them dudes around him that make you feel like you got an army, you really don't have nothing but a bunch of weaklings that are hanging on to you by a string.
I like that.
Okay, certain girl.
So it's not even you.
It's not you. It's what you got or what you can do for someone. what they can get from you, what they can benefit from you. You only find maybe a handful out your whole life.
That's a fact.
That will be around you, give you even a phone call to say, hey, I'm just tapping in, how you doing?
That's a fact.
With no strings. The majority of everything you come in contact with, the phone calls you receive, yo, top of the day. If you just sit still for a minute, they'll get to the topic. And how can you be of a benefit to me? I had a whole lot of homies, man. Because I plugged half the town, man. And they all spoke to me until I changed. When I didn't want to do that no more, they ain't call me no more. And we were supposed to be friends. Some of them I assumed. But nah, man.
That's why you say no strings.
That's why I say no strings. When I tell people, come over and have something to eat with me, it's nothing. Yo, you want me to come help you? It's nothing. I got brothers, man, that came for security training. I didn't want their money, man. Like, yo, let me help you, man. Because I know you. And maybe this is your out, too. We don't deal with people usually unless we can benefit off them. Or unless... If you're not a sucker for somebody, they're not building with you.
I had a podcast a couple of weeks ago.
Come on.
Now, when you said we don't deal with people unless we could benefit them. Now, like, it's contradicting from what I said. Like, I always said, don't deal with nobody unless you can benefit off them. You get what I'm saying? Like, how could you evolve in your life? How could you go farther in your life without people that you need in your corner? Like, I don't, like, example. I'm going to give a good example, right? I don't need nobody hang around me that have nothing to offer or nothing going on.
But hold on. Now we're talking friendship here, though.
Friendship, right. We good friends.
There you go.
I called him my brother. But sometimes in life, you outgrow people.
I'm about to make an example. Your brother, your little brother.
Right.
I don't call him because he's the biggest guard or he's this or he's the best. I call him because I care. You see the difference?
Right.
There's a difference in between dealing with people because of what they can do for you or actually trying to benefit each other. I got a friend.
We go, benefit each other.
There's a difference.
Right.
Totally. But when you have, how many people do you have that call you and they're no benefit to you? But you care about them.
And you're a benefit to them.
But you're only a benefit to them.
Man,
I got millions of people, man, they used to be able to call me for a black. They used to be able to call me for a black and probably didn't even pay it. And messed it up. And then asked for another one. It's okay. Because, whatever, man. Because I care about you and whatever you allegedly trying to get accomplished. But look at that. When you couldn't give them those things,
they fall back.
They don't call you. Happy birthday, bro. How your kids doing?
I got a lot of people like that.
Come on. They got strings. So I try to go no strings, man. And they don't even know that. Like, when I said
no strings, it'll be less than 5 fingers I need.
That's all right. That's less people you got to think about. That's less people you got to waste your energy on.
What about when you got that caring heart, though? You get what I'm saying? Like, some people just naturally care.
You got to put that energy. You got to put that energy into the things that mean the most, like your kids, man. Okay. I go to work and I go home. I don't really stop by and check on anybody unless it's dire an emergency, man. I'm starting to see what life is really about, and it's sad because at the end of the day, the majority of your friends and family around you, they don't give a fuck, bro.
That's true.
It's sad.
But it's true.
And the majority, when I say the majority, they all got strings. That's why nobody really likes it when I put it up there. Because when I say, yo, face yourself and ask yourself, do you have strings? Now you got to put yourself in a position to where you're not like that no more. And you might have better friends.
It's true. Last week I had the judge on the podcast. He was saying, like, it's all about who you keep yourself around,
That's right.
It's all about who you keep.
I saw that. I be jumping in there, peeping stuff and saying things, but I be watching though. And that was that was good food.
Yeah, he was saying his background, but it's all about who you hang around.
It's all about what you want to be around.
Yeah.
You know, everybody thinks like on Facebook.
Well,
it's what's
not...
my name on Facebook?
Han Solo.
So the majority would think I like Star Wars, right?
Right.
You know what that really means?
Break it down to me. What do it mean?
That means this man's alone.
Han Solo.
In the 80s, man, when they used to call my phone or if they said they was coming through, they'd be like, yo, what's up with you, Jay? How you doing, man? What's going on? You good? I'd be like, yeah, I'm Han Solo, man. Slide through.
From the 80s?
From the 80s. I said, yeah, I'm Han Solo. Come through. That was a way of saying that I don't have nobody around me. You good. You're safe here. You ain't got to worry about nothing. And if people pay attention, I don't ride with nobody. I don't have nobody in my car. I don't like crowds. I don't need to be around a bunch of people. I've gained my name from being alone. So people feel good when they're around me. But you see a whole bunch of people. There's no guarantee that everybody got good intentions.
That's true. 9 times everybody don't got a good intention.
I didn't come over here to be around a bunch of dudes. I came to kick it with you so they can understand how they can live.
Right.
It took me, I got 1 foot in the grave, man. It took me all the way until I got 1 foot in the grave to figure out how to live. So my true intentions right now, I'm not tooting my own horn or acting like I'm all that. Man, come on. It took me till I was 50 to figure out how to live. I'm telling y'all that got the world by the balls to straighten up now. Get out the game. Because for one, you see the game is not the same.
Mm-hmm.
And the things that people are selling are killing, so you holding death. It's out of style now. It's out of style now.
100% agree.
No, women don't want the man that can come up with $5,000 real quick. They'd rather have a dude that can get $1,500 a week, every week, and every single week. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. That's true. Now, what you got going, like, security-wise, like, how is it working in bars? Like, have you did, it's different type of security. We both did that. It's secretary
come on, I'm about
security.
To say, we did this together now.
Yeah, it's secretary security, it's bar security, it's house security. Like, let's talk about, like, the bar security. How was that feel? Working
the bars,
in the bar?
I got to be honest, and you should know that, like, we don't really have the issues that other people have at the bars. And the reason being, if we're going to jump on that, it's work ethics. If you got a guard that is on his phone the whole entire shift, the patrons are looking at him like, oh, he ain't paying attention. So it takes time to create an issue for real. But if people come there and you have the same exact conversation for them at the door, hey, how you doing? Need to have valid ID. If you have any weapons or anything, take them back to your cars. We're going to close around 2:45. So I want everybody to leave safely, expeditiously to your home. If you don't have picture ID and you have the same spill, when the next person comes, hey, how you doing? I just need picture ID and got to pat you down, check your purse or whatever. We have a female guard here. You have to be a professional. When you was a drug dealer, you wanted to be the illest drug dealer. When you was a street thug, you wanted to be the illest street thug. If you was a robber, you wanted to be the best stick-up dude. So why you can't use those same work ethics when you want to live right? So you want to be the best guard. So I want to be clean and neat when I show up. I want to make sure I'm groomed right. I want to make sure I smell right. I want to make sure I'm on time. On time.
What time is everything? Yeah.
You know,
not black people time.
Come on, I said that when he came here. He was like, where you at? I said, I'm already here. I'm not on black people time.
That's a fact.
I mean, that's the assumptions, though, that we're always late, that we're not dependable. And that's because we were using most of us that tried to get legal jobs, we still were like tiptoeing in the game. So some things were more important to us.
Yeah.
Like this transformation didn't just happen overnight. It took time.
And you was patient with it.
Man, I was patient with myself and I was real with myself. Like, man, I'm trying. I was still on the block trying. Like I'm trying.
Right.
The next thing you know, things got better over here to the point where I said, you know what? I can live like this. And I'm going to put all my energy into this instead of putting all my energy into that. Because my performance, my production was based off my performance.
Okay.
And the other things I was doing, everything could get sunk if I even got a bad batch, or if this dude don't come back, or if he gets knocked. But in the real life of living properly, my production is based off my performance. So if I don't go to work, if I perform poorly, I'm going to suffer to that. Other people can't control my production now.
Correct.
We got to look at things for what it needs to be, not for what we want it to be.
Yeah. That's true. I agree with that. We have
to look at things for what it is, not what we want it to be.
Well, so basically you're saying be focused on what you got and not what you don't got.
Mm-hmm.
I look at that different.
And plan to get what you don't got if that's what you want.
There we go.
don't leave that out, champ. Don't leave that out.
I was just about to
You still got a
Yeah.
plan. You still got a plan. You still got a plan. Like
yeah.
I live in the suburbs now, and I'm happy, but I'm not content because my goal is to get my other daughter, and I have to have room for her. And I know this sounds crazy. I want property that I can shoot on.
Right.
That sounds crazy, but that's what I want. So that's what I got to work towards,
Right.
I got to work towards that if that's something I want. I want to make sure that my kids and my wife are completely happy. See, everybody right now is focused on trying to live. Me, I'm kind of focused on that they spell my name right and they tell my story when I'm dead. See, I'm focused on dying right.
Okay.
That get different, right?
Yeah.
I'm thinking like on the proper way to die.
Proper way to die.
Yeah, I don't want to be buried as a drug dealer or a street punk. I want to be buried as a man that made a difference. You know what I'm saying?
Right. That makes sense.
What? I mean, they're not gonna talk about you when you're gone. You know what I mean? They're not gonna relive your legacy if you didn't leave them with something. If you didn't leave the community with something, if you didn't leave the world with something, you were brought in this world to do a job. So if you didn't leave the world with something, if you didn't leave your kids with, a style to run with, like how you ain't leave your kids a style to run with?
Right.
How you didn't leave your kids a person to be like? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you don't want to.
If you don't want your kids to go to school and they be like, man, your dad was a dope fiend and a sucker, man.
No, you don't want to do that. You don't want to do that. Now, some people is okay with that. Well, this new era age.
Okay.
This new era age is totally different from I could say the old.
Yeah.
I noticed that.
Yeah. Nobody wanted to be a couple of things, and it wasn't cool to be a couple of things, man.
What I noticed about this new era age is everybody want a name.
Everybody
wants a name.
Everybody want to be recognized, acknowledgement, acceptance, and they strive to get acknowledgments and acceptance. And as long as you can move the crowd to think that you the man. You don't care if you know you really not.
Right.
That get different, man.
Right.
That hit different.
That make a lot of sense.
That hit different.
Right,
if you know you're not the man inside, but you got everybody convinced that you is, man, how do you
And you know you not.
And you know you not the man. That get different, man. That hit different, man.
Yeah. It's a lot of them wannabes out here,
different.
man.
If you look like you around and you say you always were around, but the streets know that you weren't.
Right.
But when the streets know that you were and you chose not to be, I can go to my grave with that.
Yeah. It's definitely different now.
Hmm?
I mean, we gotta blame the OGs for that, man. They didn't raise their kids to be solid.
Yo, I gotta be honest
with you.
What
I think it is?
No.
You know what I think it is about the streets?
Come on.
This is my opinion. It's not a fact. It's an opinion.
Nah, come on.
A lot of OGs went to jail in the 80s and the 90s.
That's a
and they
fact.
was not able to raise their kids to have the same criteria as them.
That's a fact.
So that's why their kids grew to be different, and now
That's a
the
fact.
game is all messed
Yo,
up.
you can't get mad at your kids if you abandoned them and went to prison. You can't get mad.
But
oh, man.
you was going by the street
Come
code.
on. I'm gonna break
see what
something
I'm
down.
saying?
Hold on, I'm gonna break it down. So when I still was in the streets, when I got my kids,
Mm-hmm.
they started getting into the same stuff.
Mm.
And I'd be like, Damien done got knocked, man. Dorian keep playing games, man. And little Jay done blah. But then as soon as, this is real, hand to God, as soon as I jumped over into security, Damien got his guard card. Dorian got his guard card. You hear where I'm going with this?
I get exactly.
I showed them what I showed them, and then they mimicked what they saw. Well, Dad got the Chevy, he got the Tahoes, he got this from that. So I'm going to do that so I can get it. But then as soon as I showed, and they didn't get it, they didn't have those things when I showed them the wrong way, because it's really not for everybody. Everybody's not as aggressive in bad things.
Mm-hmm.
But then as soon as I showed them the other way, they got cars and jobs and guard cards. So what I'm saying is that if you're going to show them the wrong way and you find out the right way, show them the right way and save them.
Exactly. But some people feel like it's too late.
It's never too late, man.
Yeah.
It's never too late. And I'm not going to sit here and tell y'all like that I don't ever think about the game. I'm not going to sit here and act like I never think about it. Because that's what made me who I am now.
Right. And you came from it.
Man. Yo, I still kick it with the same dudes. I still sit on the porch with them, man. I'm still me. I just live different.
Right. Make a lot of
There's
sense.
a big difference in that, man.
Yep. Well, we're going to hit it up with some closing remarks, man.
Yeah.
Any closing remarks you want to say? You want to let the people know?
We're gonna actually have a seminar because just us talking right now, it gives you a grasp on how to do things. But Champ's gonna announce the seminar we're gonna do. We're gonna save you that $1,500.
Yep.
We're gonna save you that money. We're gonna have the paperwork that you need. We're gonna have everything. We're gonna have refreshments and everything. We're gonna charge, instead of $1,500, we're going to charge $25 because ink costs money, paperwork costs money, and you're going to leave with something about this thick. And you're going to have all the instructions step by step, because before I leave this earth, I want y'all to talk about me like, man, I could have swore I never could get mine. There's a lot of individuals that got their gun rights back because I did it for them. There's a lot of people that are working because I did it for them. Nobody taught me. I didn't want to go back to prison. I didn't want another conviction. No one's going to help us, y'all, unless we start helping each other. So I'm trying to help y'all with no strings.
No strings attached.
No strings attached, man.
You know, I want to give you a shout out for coming on the Let's Talk podcast. I appreciate you coming on. Appreciate the knowledge. I learned a lot.
Yeah.
You know, I got to get this real to understand there's a second chance.
Man, there's a second and a third.
Second, third.
Long as you got air in your breath and you woke up, man, you got a chance to do anything.
Never give up. You know, I tell my kids this every day we go to school. Be committed, be consistent, dedicated, and have determination. And sometimes in life, well, most time in life, you got to sacrifice. I tell them that every day I drop them off to school. You know what I'm saying? Like I said before, I want to appreciate you for coming on the Let's Talk podcast. Y'all heard what he said. We got a seminar coming up.
Yeah, we do.
Pay attention.
Y'all
It's
stay
$25.
safe, man. Be good to each other. Stop dealing with people for strings. Actually care about somebody, man.
One more last thing. No strings.
None. You'll never be good with strings.
None.